Hello, I'm back. Oh my god, I'm so tired. All right, so I've been gone a while, due to many reasons. From this channel, anyway, I've been gone from this channel. I've been working on a lot of different things. I'll probably do it in another video. No, I'll just mention it quickly if I just get over with. This probably won't be that long a review anyway. Um, if you watch my other channel, you know my main channel. I put a link to it somewhere. You know that I've been doing the Duke of Ed, and I just started college recently, so I've been busy with that. Plus, we started up a podcast, which I didn't think would get in the way of any of my other channels, but it seems to be very time consuming considering I'm the editor. So some of me and my friends have started a podcast, and we're actually looking for guests because we're going to do this thing called 25 Days of Guestmas. I know it's a lame name, but I don't know. We just thought it sounded cool. Where we're going to do a pod for every single day of the December, and there's going to be a new guest on. So if you want to check out, I'll include a link to one of the podcasts in the description just so you can get a feel of what we talk about and stuff. So yeah, there's that, and really, I'm sorry. And I know I'm finally returned. I know I don't have a lot of subscribers or viewers, but I should be reviewing something more, relevant. But I'm so tired. I just want to review something that's fresh in my mind. So yeah, I hope nobody. You can skip this if you don't really care. But yeah. So Todd in the Book of Pure Evil. Uh, I was going to say series one. Series two has started. I'm watching that, but series one I just finished watching. Now, if you don't know about this, I went into this for one reason, and that's Jason Mewes, which I guess a lot of people probably got into the series for because he was like pimping it on his Twitter. He was talking about it on his podcast. He's basically saying that this is his next role that he's going to be involved in for quite a while. And he only has a minor role, which is it. I'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, so I went to this knowing literally nothing but Jason Mewes was in it, which you can tell I'm a Jay and Silent Bob fan if I just go into something blindly. But it's a Canadian show about this boy called Todd, and he finds a book of pure evil. It's pretty much self-explanatory. The book is actually it's quite interesting, but it's nothing original. Basically, it gives you your deepest dark desires, but obviously it twists them. So it kind of it'll give you what you want until you realize you didn't really want it. So well, in some cases, but right. So basically, first episode, Todd uses it, goes very wrong. Second episode, for the first, it takes. I will say this about the series: it takes a couple of episodes until about episode four to really get started. But basically, by episode four, we have this gang of people who know about the book, all have their own reasons for wanting to destroy it. There's Todd, um, there's Hannah, Jenny, and Todd's best friend, who I can't remember the name of, but he's probably my favorite character in the series. And they basically they set out to stop this book infecting more people. And then majority of the episodes after this are followed by a very formulaic structure. I'd say it's kind of repetitive, but it doesn't take itself seriously. See, the thing about this show is that it has a lot of qualities that wouldn't be good in a show that took itself seriously, but because it's such a over the top, campy type show, it's kind of funny. Like they always do this formula in majority of the episodes where the first 5 minutes consists of someone being bullied for something, or someone happens to someone who usually represents a clique in high school. So there's one episode with a guy who's he's homosexual, and he's getting very homophobic bullies and stuff, and they're all bullying him. So he finds the book, and it turns everyone else gay because he wishes that everyone could feel what it is like to be gay. But then he becomes straight, and then he gets bullied for being straight. So it kind of has that thing. But this happens a lot. There's one with obesity. There's one with it's very formulaic. This happens a lot. And basically, Todd and the gang have to kind of go out and stop it in different ways every episode, and it takes. This happens for the majority of the middle of the season, and then towards the end, the plot about I don't want to spoil it, but there's a thicker plot comes. No, sorry, that was a very long explanation, but I need to explain that for some things. Okay, so the show is alright. It's got good points and bad points. The good points are really, as I said, the campiness. If you're into like over the top gore, just for the fact of gore, like not like but like it's funny. It's so stupid. It's funny, and it doesn't take, as I said, it doesn't take itself seriously. That there's a lot of that in it, but the problem is that whereas the actors do like a lot of things that is expected of them. They're very camp. They're very over the top. Their characters are very exaggerated. So like Todd and his friend are heavy stoners. So they've adopted the movie stoner personality where they're always lazy and stuff. And then obviously the Hannah, who's the smart girl, is always really awkward and stuff. So it's kind of taking these stereotypes and overdoing them. The acting can be a bit cringeworthy at sometimes. Like this happens a lot with like the support characters, usually the ones who get the book. Like there's a bully in one of the episodes who he's supposed to act like he's having like a change of heart, where he's like, I bullied you, but I'd ask you don't bully me. But it just comes off as like him being a dick, which I guess was kind of intended, but it's pretty stupid. So there are those bad points. Plus, there's a lot of audio replacement. I have no idea why, but there's a lot of times where like it's obviously people are singing or talking, and it obviously isn't in sync. Like they haven't even put effort into putting it in sync. But other than that, I'll get into individual characters. Todd is pretty interesting. As I said, him and his friend are kind of the generic stoners who like heavy metal, but it's pretty funny. I compare him kind of to Jack Black from Tenacious D, except he's not overweight. He's kind of got that personality as Jables, and I enjoyed that character, and if you did too, I think you'd enjoy Todd's character. Then you've got his friend with the prosthetic arm. He's probably my favourite character, because he is just like, throughout the whole series, all this crazy stuff is happening, and he's just like, he's screaming and stuff, but he's just giggling and always cheery all the way through until right at the end, where he gets a really cool character arc. I don't want to spoil it, but something happens at the end where he's kind of just like, it's completely like, it draws you in, because like it's been a funny series, and then all of a sudden it goes a bit serious, and then still with funny elements, but it goes really serious, and you actually care for this guy because you've been watching him be cheery and try to uplift everyone throughout the whole series. So yeah, that's pretty cool. There's also Atticus, which is kind of he's kind of the on and off bad guy of the series. The actor who plays him is so funny. He just plays this really, he's got so many quotable lines. He's just one of the characters where you're just kind of like, oh, remember when he said, if like you have a group of friends who also watch the show, you're like, oh, remember when Atticus does this, and he always says this, and it's just really funny. He's the student guidance counselor, but there's dark side to him, and you find out more about that towards the end of the series. And then obviously, as I said, the reason I went to this is Jason Todd's character, Jimmy the janitor. Now, Jimmy, it's a cool part. It's not that original, as I said, with most of the series. It's kind of like rehashing old things and just kind of over the top, using them, but over the top. Jimmy is this janitor who Todd always goes to advice. Every episode, he'll go to Jimmy for advice. And the best thing about Jimmy is that for the majority of the first series, he'll give him bad advice, and Todd will follow it and get into trouble, because Jimmy is he's not the best of people. Like, he's a janitor, he's like lives in the school, but Todd looks up to him because he's kind of like this. Yeah, Jimmy has kind of like this persona about him where he seems really cool, but he's obviously not to everyone else but Todd. But then at the end of the series, Todd goes to Jimmy for advice, and Jimmy actually gives him good advice, and Todd just completely ignores him until right at the end. So it's a really funny, ironic scene. But Jason Mewes plays Jimmy as he's probably one of the best characters. It's really like dry humor, but also really funny. It's just really cool. It's completely different to what he does with Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. But whereas in Jay and Silent Bob, he plays himself, whereas in this he plays like the anti-Jason Mewes, where he's kind of very serious, but he's also got these comedic elements where he's really stupid and it's just really fun to watch him and Todd play off each other. So yeah, overall, I think check this series out if you're into Jane Silent Bob movies and Clerks. Well, not so much Clerks because that as more. If you're into Kevin Smith's movies because of Jane Silent Bob, check this out. Or if you're into Tenacious D, or like if you just like comedies with it's not safe for anyone. Like I don't think I should even be watching this, but it is extremely overtly sexual and very gory, but almost to the point where it's all kind of just because it's so campy and so, over the top that you don't even realize it. So yeah, yeah, I think you should check the series out, but only if like you like either Tenacious D, or if you can withstand a lot of like stupid campy gore. But I'd say get into at least episode 4 before you kind of judge whether to stop watching or not, because episode 4 is kind of where it kind of gets into the flow of things. So yeah, if not, if you're not a fan of Kevin Smith's movies, I would not recommend going to see this, because this is clearly written by a guy who watched those movies and said, I've got an idea for a movie and I'm going to incorporate a lot of elements into that, but also incorporate like a lot of campiness and go. And I've said campiness and go and over the top like 600 times this review, so I'm going to stop it now. Yeah.